Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You are knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
Have you noticed that your desire continues to evolve?
Yes.
You like that?
Yes.
It's fun to have continually expanding desire, isn't it? Especially when you believe in the probability of it manifesting. So when you want something, and even though it isn't here right now, you know it's not far off, or that it is possible, then that desire feels good, doesn't it? But if you have a desire pulsing within you and you have doubt about it, that doubt doesn't feel good, does it? That doubt feels like disappointment or sometimes even fear. So a desire feels good when it is believed, but not good when it is not believed. Would you agree with that? And so what makes a desire believable? That's really what we want to talk about. What makes you believe in what you want? For most people, they have to have evidence. Sometimes people say, well, I believe I can do it because that person has done it. So therefore, it is believable to me. That makes sense, doesn't it? Others say, well, just because that person can do it doesn't mean I can do it. So I believe in their ability to do it, but I don't believe in my ability to do it. That desire doesn't feel so good. In fact, it feels worse than ever. Because you want something, you see others achieving it, they flaunt their achievement, don't they? They're all around, those successful ones, flaunting their thinness, flaunting their prosperity, flaunting their agility, flaunting their healthiness. They don't mean to flaunt it, but if somebody's got something you want and you don't believe you can have it, their having it feels like they're flaunting it. Feels like they are showing off with their success of your desire. When you gain confidence in these laws of the universe, you'll be joyful no matter where you stand in relationship to anything you want. So when we began here today, we asked the question, so what's this belief thing? I want it, but I don't believe it because I haven't yet seen it. So a logical person would say, well, if I haven't seen myself do it, but I need to believe I can do it in order to do it, doesn't it seem impossible? And we say, not when you believe in the laws of the universe, not when you understand law of attraction, not when you understand that you are non-physical energy first and foremost. You don't have to believe that you can accomplish that specific thing. You just have to believe that you can accomplish anything. You just have to understand that the universe has your back, that the law of attraction will yield to you the equivalent of what you're offering vibrationally. You just have to believe that your emotions never lie to you, that your emotions every time give you the feedback that lets you know whether you're in vibrational alignment with what you want or not. So what makes people assume that there's something karmic that they're compensating for? Well, it's easy to understand how they'd get there. They innately believe that they are good. They want to be good. They know that they want stuff that they can't get. And they're outside the vortex trying to make it happen, try to make it happen through words and action, not lining up with the energy that will allow it to happen, but struggling really hard to make it happen. And finally they just get weary and they say, oh, don't tell me that I create my own reality. I don't want to hear that because I've wanted that for a long, long time. Don't tell me that when I ask it is given. If that's true, then where's my stuff? I've been asking. I don't think it's been being given. And then to explain why when they innately know that it should be going better for them and it isn't, then they come up with all of the screwiest explanations about why things aren't going better. It's my mother's fault. It's the government's fault. It's my husband's fault. It's my wife's fault. It's my child's fault. It's the fault of karma. I must have done something screwy in a past life, and now I'm coming back to do it again, you see. And so that's the reason that we don't talk about karma in the way that most people mean it. There is nothing in anything that we know that even remotely resembles what most people mean when they talk about karma. Now, are you an eternal being? Yes. So that's kind of karmic. Are you source energy at the same time that you're here? Yes. So that's sort of karmic. Do you come back and have other experiences? Yes. But every time, see, here's how it works. So here you are in this physical body, knowing what you do want, knowing what you don't want, asking for more. And we've been talking all day here today about closing the gap. Hopefully while you're here in this physical body, but some don't. Some just get more and more and more of a spread between who they're letting themselves be and who they are. And then they have their closing of the gap during that releasing into the non-physical, what you call the death experience. But once reemerged back into non-physical, they now stand as the culmination of all that life has caused them to be. All that they were before they were in this body and all that they've been since. You are an expanding being, an expanding consciousness, an expanding energy. Yes, yes, yes. And when you make your decision to come back again, and you will because it's great fun. This is the leading edge. This is where it's at. This is where the expansion begins and ends, if you will allow it. You come from this framework of who you are. You, in this time-space reality, are putting all kinds of things into this vortex of creation that future generations will benefit from. But it doesn't need to only be future generations. You all could get into the vortex now if you would use the power of your mind to get in there, and you could benefit from it right here and now. But if you don't, it doesn't matter, because who you really are has become that, and when you reemerge into physical again, you will come from that vantage point. Haven't you noticed that about the children that are coming forth? Don't they just know stuff? Don't they know stuff? Esther visits with her grandchildren and she can hardly believe that they know stuff she just learned from Abraham. I just learned that, and you were born knowing that? You sort of understand, don't you? That you are more than you see here in these physical bodies. You are vibrational beings. You are source energy in physical form. You were non-physical energy before you expressed yourself here in this physical body. But when this you that you know as you was born into this magnificent physical body, the larger part of you still remains non-physically focused. Over time, man has tried to define that part of you. Sometimes you call it soul, or source, or God. We want you to understand that no matter what you call it, the larger part of you will always be non-physically focused, and the larger part of you will always be the holder of the leading edge desires that you have launched from your physical experience. In other words, sometimes physical humans have it backwards. They say, oh, non-physical is source-like, and it's all finished because it's not coming forth to suffer anymore. It's not coming forth to strive or to progress. And here we are, humble humans that we are, here serving our whatever it is, and learning and growing or climbing the karmic wheel or whatever. And hopefully we'll be able to prove ourselves worthy enough that we can return to heaven and never have to come back to earth again. And we say, you could not have it more screwy, because you are source energy, you are eternal beings, you are non-physical energy, and you love to send a part of that which is you into a leading edge experience where the environment can evoke from you new ideas of expansion, the evolution of all that is, not just the species on your planet, the evolution of all that is happening because of this leading edge time-space reality that you are focused within. So as you come forth and you are exposed to contrast and you know what you don't want, rockets of desires exude from you. And the non-physical part of you, that larger eternal part of you, rides that rocket and holds steady to that vibrational frequency. Now you're constantly amending it, but the source within you constantly holds to your new decisions. And every negative emotion that you ever feel, every single one, you or anyone you know, is because you have in your physicality expanded vibrationally to a new place. The larger part of you is holding to that new vibrational latitude, but negative emotion within you means you're not keeping up. You expanded, but your thoughts are still focused upon the contrasting environment that caused the expansion. It's like someone going to their mailbox, finding more bills than they can pay, feeling awful about it because they want to be responsible and keep their promises. They actually feel fear because they are focusing upon the exact opposite of what they want. They want prosperity. They're focused on the opposite of it. They want to be responsible and keep their commitments. They're focused upon not being able to do that. So as they focus on this reality, they feel negative emotion. Negative emotion, not because they're focused upon reality. Negative emotion because the reality that they're focused upon has them offering a different vibration than their desire. So they take the emotional hit, and we say, fine, nothing wrong with that, because in that exaggerated moment, you launched more rockets of desire. You asked for even more prosperity. You asked for even more ability to keep your promises to the financial lenders. You launched even more rockets to keep your commitments to yourself. You launched even more rockets, but are you following the train of those rockets? Are you making an effort to think about how nice it will be when the money catches up with the vibration? Or are you beating the drum, it's been this way too long? It's hard. I don't like this. It's not fair. It's that one's fault, and that one's fault, and that one's fault, and that one's fault. And we say, you have an option in every moment to lean in the direction of who you really are, or lean in opposition to who you really are. And every time you lean in opposition to who you really are, you feel worse. And every time you lean in the direction of who you are, you feel better. This is a vibrational place. In other words, Esther met someone years ago who was going to meditate. And when Esther visited with her, she said, yes, every day we levitate. And Esther said, really? You all levitate? And she said, yes. But when Esther looked in the little window of the room where they were all levitating, they weren't levitating. They were all sitting on the floor. But if Esther had been in the room with them, she would have had the experience of levitation with them. In other words, you have to be in the vortex. You have to be up to speed with who you really are, you see. And so what Jesus' primary message is that he was the extension of source energy. It was translated in many different ways. It's translated that he was the Son of God, eventually the only Son of God. In other words, it got more and more distorted as time goes by. But there was nothing that he was saying then or would say to you now that is different than what you are hearing here. And you can tell by the resonance that you feel within you when you find a piece of something that the source within you agrees with. We are not wanting to go back into history and rewrite any books. It's not necessary. What we want you to do is to find the feeling place of where you are, acknowledge that there is a larger part of you that you have expanded to, and then feel yourself into resonance with who you are. We want to empower you to your own guidance system. And when you do, while you will continue to love and appreciate this one that you know as Jesus, you won't hold him on a pedestal that you have not yet achieved. You will see him as a partner in creation. You will feel the equality of that which you all are. You will feel the fullness. You will never really know who he is until you achieve that same vibration, you see. Don't make yourself separate and apart from him. Don't hold him in a category in your mind or on a pedestal that is unreachable for you. That was never his message. And that's why when you tell the story in that way, it always feels the way it does in your gut. It's bogus. It's off, you see. When you hear the stories of love, when you hear the parables, when you listen to the way he cared about others, sometimes you feel all full of yourself. Because in the reading or the hearing of that, you come into alignment with who you are. But the majority of the story, the part that's most emphasized about this blessed being who came to teach, to uplift you all to the same alignment, the majority of the story that is told is about the day that he was not in the vortex. And then all of the stories that you then have to tell in order to make that fit, that make that fit, and then make that fit, and then make that fit. And before you know it, everybody says, I believe, but nobody knows what they're believing because nobody feels it. We have enjoyed this immensely. There is great love here for you. We are complete.